I never imagined that one moment could change my life forever. The day I died, I didn't just have a near-death experience. I was given a divine message from Jesus himself about Jerusalem's role before his return. What I saw and heard will leave you speechless. This isn't just my story, it's a message for all of humanity. If you've ever wondered about life after death, the purpose of our existence, or what the future holds, this testimony will give you the answers you've been searching for. So, let me take you back to that fateful day in March 2023 when my life took an extraordinary turn. My name is Ethan Carter, and I'm just an ordinary guy from Portland, Oregon. I've always lived a pretty normal life, working a 9-to-5 job, spending time with family, and enjoying the simple things. I wasn't particularly religious, but I believed in God and tried to live a good life. That all changed on March 15th, 2023, when I was involved in a car accident that should have ended my life. Instead, it became the beginning of an extraordinary journey, one that took me to the brink of death and back, with a message that has forever changed the way I see the world. Before that day, I never thought much about near-death experiences or prophecies, but what I experienced was beyond anything I could have imagined. It wasn't just a glimpse of the afterlife. It was a direct encounter with Jesus, who revealed to me the critical role Jerusalem will play in the events leading up to his return. This is my story, and I share it with you in the hope that it will inspire, enlighten, and prepare you for what's to come. It was a rainy evening, around 7:15 p.m. on March 15th, 2023. I was driving home from work on the I-5 freeway, just like any other day. The roads were slick and visibility was low, but I wasn't worried. I'd driven in worse conditions before. But then, out of nowhere, a truck lost control and slammed into my car. The impact was so sudden and violent that I didn't even have time to react. My car spun out of control and everything went black. The next thing I remember, I was floating above my body, looking down at the scene below. I could see paramedics rushing to my car, trying to pull me out. I could hear their voices, but they sounded distant, like echoes. One of them said, "We're losing him," and another shouted, "He's gone." I was pronounced dead at the scene, but in that moment I didn't feel dead. I felt more alive than ever before. I was no longer in my body, but I was still conscious, still aware. That's when I realized I was having a near-death experience. What happened next was beyond anything I could have imagined. I found myself in a place of pure light, surrounded by an overwhelming sense of peace and love. And then I saw him, Jesus. He looked at me with so much love and said, "Ethan, you must go back. There's a message I need you to share with the world." What he revealed to me about Jerusalem and the events leading up to his return will change the way you see the world forever. This is my testimony. When I opened my eyes, I wasn't in my car anymore. I wasn't even on earth. I was in a place I can only describe as pure light. It was warm, peaceful, and unlike anything I'd ever experienced. There was no fear, no pain, just an overwhelming sense of love and belonging. It felt like I was home, even though I'd never been there before. The light wasn't like sunlight or artificial light. It was alive, almost like it had a heartbeat. It surrounded me, filled me, and made me feel completely at peace. I looked around, but there was no ground, no sky, no walls, just endless, radiant light. And yet, I didn't feel lost or disoriented. I felt safe, like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. As I took it all in, I realized I wasn't alone. There were others there, beings of light, glowing with the same warmth and love. They didn't speak, but I could feel their presence, like they were welcoming me. I didn't know who they were, but I knew they were good. They were there to guide me, to help me understand what was happening. And that's when I realized I was no longer in my body. I was just me, my thoughts, my feelings, my essence, but without the limitations of a physical form. It was freeing, like I'd been carrying a heavy weight my whole life, and suddenly, it was gone. I knew then that I had died, but I wasn't afraid. In fact, I felt more alive than I ever had before. As I floated in that sea of light, I felt a presence approaching. It was different from the others, stronger, more powerful, but also incredibly gentle. I turned, and there he was, Jesus. I didn't need anyone to tell me it was him. I just knew. His presence was unmistakable. He looked at me with so much love that it brought tears to my eyes, even though I didn't have a physical body anymore. His eyes were kind, filled with compassion and understanding. He didn't say anything at first, but his presence spoke volumes. It was like he knew everything about me, my thoughts, my fears, my regrets, and yet he loved me completely. Finally, he spoke. His voice was soft but powerful, like a gentle breeze that carried the weight of eternity. He said, "Ethan, you must go back. There's a message I need you to share with the world." I was confused. Go back? I didn't want to go back. This place was perfect. I felt more at peace here than I ever had on earth. But Jesus knew my thoughts before I could even speak them. He smiled and said, "I understand, Ethan, but your work on earth isn't finished yet. There are people who need to hear what I'm about to tell you. This message is too important to keep to yourself." His words filled me with a sense of purpose I'd never felt before. I knew I had to listen, no matter how much I wanted to stay. He reached out and placed his hand on my shoulder. Even though I didn't have a physical body, I could feel his touch. It was warm, comforting, and filled with so much love that it brought me to tears. "Don't be afraid," he said. "I'll be with you every step of the way. Now listen carefully, because what I'm about to tell you will change everything." Jesus began by telling me about Jerusalem. He said, "Jerusalem is the key to understanding the events leading up to my return. It's not just a city, it's a symbol of faith, hope, and prophecy. What happens in Jerusalem will signal the beginning of the end." His words were clear and direct, but they carried a weight that made me realize how important this message was. He showed me visions of Jerusalem, ancient streets, the Dome of the Rock, and the Western Wall. But then the scene shifted. I saw a future Jerusalem filled with chaos and conflict. Nations were fighting over the city, and the world was watching, holding its breath. But amidst the chaos, there was also hope. People from all over the world were drawn to Jerusalem, seeking answers, seeking peace. Jesus said, "Jerusalem will be the epicenter of the final spiritual battle. Nations will rise and fall over this city, but in the end, it will become a beacon of hope. The world will look to Jerusalem for answers, but true peace will only come through me." His words were both comforting and sobering. I could feel the urgency in his voice, like he was preparing me, and through me, the world, for what was to come. He paused and looked at me with those kind, knowing eyes. "Ethan," he said, "this is just the beginning. There's so much more I need to show you. But remember, this message isn't just for you. It's for everyone who will listen. Share it with the world and tell them to prepare their hearts. My return is closer than they think." Jesus began by explaining the significance of Jerusalem in God's plan. He said, "Jerusalem is not just a city. It's the heart of my Father's plan for humanity. It's where heaven and earth meet, where the past, present, and future come together. What happens in Jerusalem will shape the destiny of the world." He showed me visions of Jerusalem's history, the Temple Mount, the Western Wall, and the ancient streets where prophets once walked. But then the scene shifted to the future. I saw Jerusalem as a city of conflict, with nations fighting for control. Jesus said, "Jerusalem will be the epicenter of the final spiritual battle. It will become a symbol of hope and conflict, drawing the attention of the entire world." He explained that Jerusalem's role is prophetic. The events in Jerusalem will signal the beginning of the end, he said. Wars, natural disasters, and political turmoil will all point to the fulfillment of ancient prophecies. But amidst the chaos, there will also be hope. Jerusalem will become a beacon of light, drawing people from all nations to seek the truth. Jesus emphasized that Jerusalem's significance goes beyond politics or religion. It's not about who controls the city, he said. It's about what the city represents. Jerusalem is a reminder of my Father's promises and my return. It's a call to prepare, to seek truth, and to turn back to God. As I listened, I felt a deep sense of awe and responsibility. Jesus wasn't just sharing information. He was entrusting me with a message that could change lives. He said, "Ethan, this is not just for you. It's for everyone who will listen. Share this message and tell them to watch Jerusalem. What happens there will reveal the times we're living in." Next, Jesus showed me a vision of a global spiritual awakening centered around Jerusalem. He said, "In the last days, people from every nation, race, and religion will be drawn to Jerusalem. They will come seeking answers, seeking peace, but many will not understand the true source of that peace." I saw crowds of people flooding into Jerusalem, pilgrims, tourists, and seekers from all over the world. They were drawn by a sense of curiosity, a longing for something greater. But amidst the crowds, there was also confusion. People were searching, but they didn't know what they were searching for. Jesus said, "Many will come to Jerusalem looking for peace, but true peace will only come through me." They will seek answers in rituals, traditions, and man-made solutions, but they will not find what they're looking for until they turn to me. He showed me how this spiritual awakening would spread beyond Jerusalem. The events in Jerusalem will spark a global movement, he said. People will begin to question their beliefs, their priorities, and their purpose. They will seek truth, and many will find it. But this awakening will also bring division. Some will embrace the truth, while others will reject it. Jesus emphasized the importance of faith and love during this time. "In the midst of chaos and confusion, my followers must stand firm," he said. "They must be a light in the darkness, showing the world what true peace looks like. Love one another, forgive those who wrong you, and share the hope you have in me." As I watched this vision unfold, I felt a mix of hope and urgency. Jesus' words were a call to action, not just for me, but for everyone who would hear this message. He said, "Ethan, tell them to prepare their hearts. The time is coming when faith will be tested, but those who stand firm will see my glory." Finally, Jesus showed me a vision of the final battle and his return. He said, "Jerusalem will be the stage for the ultimate showdown between good and evil. Nations will rise against nations, and the world will be on the brink of destruction. But in the midst of the chaos, I will return." I saw armies gathering around Jerusalem, their weapons gleaming in the sunlight. The tension was palpable, like the calm before a storm. But then the sky darkened and a brilliant light appeared. It was Jesus, descending from heaven with power and glory. His presence was overwhelming, filling the earth with light and hope. Jesus, who said, "When I return, I will bring an end to the conflict and establish my kingdom. The battles, the suffering, the chaos, it will all come to an end. I will reign in peace, and Jerusalem will be the center of my kingdom." He showed me what his kingdom would look like, a world without pain, without suffering, without death. Jerusalem was at the heart of it, a city of light and life. People from every nation, race, and religion lived together in harmony, united by their love for him. Jesus said, "This is the future I'm preparing for my people, but before that day comes, there will be trials and challenges. The world will grow darker, but my light will shine even brighter. Those who stand with me will see my glory and share in my victory. As the vision faded, Jesus looked at me with those kind, knowing eyes. "Ethan," he said, "this is the message I want you to share. Tell the world to prepare, to watch Jerusalem, and to seek me with all their hearts. My return is closer than they think, and I want everyone to be ready." His words filled me with a sense of purpose and urgency. I knew I had to share this message, no matter how difficult it might be. Jesus' revelations about Jerusalem were not just a glimpse into the future. They were a call to action, a reminder that we are living in extraordinary times, and the choices we make today will shape our destiny tomorrow. Jesus' message for humanity was clear: prepare your hearts, my return is closer than you think. He emphasized that the events in Jerusalem and around the world are signs of the times we're living in. But instead of fearing what's to come, he wants us to focus on what really matters, our relationship with him. He said, "The world will grow darker, but my light will shine even brighter. Those who stand with me will see my glory and share in my victory." This isn't a message of doom, it's a message of hope. Jesus wants us to be ready, not just for the challenges ahead, but for the incredible future he has planned for us. He also warned against distractions. "Don't get caught up in the things of this world," he said. "Money, power, fame, none of it will matter in the end. What matters is your faith, your love, and your relationship with me." He reminded me that life is short and we need to make the most of the time we have. Jesus' call to prepare isn't just about watching the signs, it's about living a life of purpose. He said, "Love one another, forgive those who wrong you, and seek me with all your heart. The time is now." This is a message for everyone. No matter where you are in life, it's a reminder to focus on what truly matters and to live with eternity in mind. One of the most powerful things Jesus told me was about the importance of faith and love. He said, "In the last days, faith will be tested and love will grow cold. But those who stand firm in their faith and show love to others will shine like stars in the darkness." He explained that faith isn't just about believing, it's about trusting him, even when things don't make sense. "There will be times when you don't understand what's happening," he said, "but if you trust me, I will guide you through it. My plans for you are good, and I will never leave you." Love, he said, is the key to surviving the challenges ahead. "Love one another as I have loved you," he reminded me. "Forgive those who hurt you, help those in need, and show kindness to everyone you meet. Love is the most powerful force in the universe, and it will overcome even the darkest times." Jesus' message is a call to action. He wants us to live with faith, hope, and love, no matter what's happening in the world. He said, "The world will try to pull you away from me, but don't let it. Stay close to me, and I will give you the strength to face anything." As I listened to his words, I felt a deep sense of peace and purpose. Jesus' message isn't just for me. It's for all of us. It's a reminder that no matter how dark things get, his light will always shine brighter. And if we stand with him, we will see his glory and share in his victory. The next thing I knew, I was gasping for air in the back of an ambulance. The paramedics were shocked. They had declared me dead just minutes earlier. One of them shouted, "He's back!" as they rushed to stabilize me. I was disoriented, confused, and overwhelmed, but I could still feel the warmth of Jesus' presence lingering in my heart. I was rushed to St. Vincent's Hospital in Portland, where I spent weeks recovering from my injuries. The doctors called it a miracle. They couldn't explain how I had survived, let alone come back to life after being pronounced dead. But I knew the truth. Jesus had sent me back for a reason, to share his message with the world. As I lay In that hospital bed, I couldn't stop thinking about everything I had seen and heard. The light, the love, the revelations about Jerusalem. It all felt so real, so vivid. I knew I had to share this experience, no matter how hard it might be. This wasn't just my story. It was a message for everyone. Since that day, my life has completely changed. I've dedicated myself to sharing Jesus' message with as many people as I can. I've traveled to Jerusalem twice, and each time I felt a deep connection to the city and its prophetic role. Walking through the ancient streets, I could almost hear Jesus' voice, reminding me of what he had shown me. I've also started a foundation called the Jerusalem Light Project, which focuses on spreading awareness about the spiritual significance of Jerusalem and preparing people for the events to come. Through videos, blogs, and community events, I'm doing my best to share the hope and truth I received during my near-death experience. But the biggest change has been in my heart. I no longer fear death or the future. I know that Jesus is with me, guiding me every step of the way. His love and presence have given me a sense of peace and purpose that I never had before. And I want everyone to feel that same peace, no matter what they're going through. If this story has touched you, I urge you to share it with your friends and family. We're living in extraordinary times, and the message I received is for everyone. Let's prepare our hearts, spread love and hope, and stand firm in our faith. Together, we can make a difference. And if you've had a similar experience, I'd love to hear from you. Share your story in the comments below. Let's inspire and uplift each other as we navigate these uncertain times. Remember, no matter how dark things get, Jesus' light will always shine brighter. Thank you for listening, and may his peace be with you.